What better way to solve your differences with someone else than an old-fashioned 1-versus-1 combat? Unfortunately, that's being considered barbaric in recent times, so if you want to settle your issues that way, you need to do it in a ring. Unfortunately, it's like the memo hadn't reached UFC fighter Masvidal, who decided to deal with Colby the old way. What happened between these two? What did some of the other stars have to say about it? All these and more in today's video. First, let's kick off the show by highlighting what happened between the two UFC fighters. 25 minutes together inside the octagon apparently wasn't enough for Masvidal and Colby to settle their grudge. Late Monday night, Fox Sports 640 South Florida radio host Andy Slater reported on Twitter that Masvidal and Covington got into a fight at Miami Beach restaurant Pappy's Steak, adding that police were called to the scene. Within an hour of Slater's report, Masvidal posted a video on Twitter in which he seemingly relished what allegedly transpired between him and Covington, calling this the show your face challenge, you know? Masvidal said, what's up? I'm from Dade County. You talk that S, you gotta back it up. That's how my city rolls, man. After the initial report and tweets from Masvidal and his managers, a video obtained by TMZ and released Tuesday morning showed Masvidal being restrained from Covington as he yelled, "Don't talk about my kids," at him. The incident comes 16 days after Covington dominated Masvidal for 5 rounds en route to a lopsided unanimous decision win in the UFC 272 headliner. The bout was the culmination of a bitter feud between the former best friends and American top team teammates who became bitter enemies as they both rose to welterweight title contender status. Afterward, Covington, who now trains at MMA Masters, declared himself the King of Miami, which Masvidal took exception to. Both men indicated they would fight again outside of the octagon if they ran into each other in public. Well, they both called it. Anyway, what did some of the other UFC fighters have to say about the incident? Next, Seon O'Malley speaks up on the Colby and Jorge incident. Seon O'Malley thinks Jorge Masvidal likely didn't expect that much backlash for his alleged attack of Colby Covington. Masvidal, who lost a lopsided unanimous decision to former friend, now arch-rival Covington, didn't personally get to settle his score. After the fight, Masvidal allegedly punched Covington twice in the face in a sneak attack outside a restaurant and was taken into custody for his actions. However, the reception from people wasn't quite the same, as it was when Masvidal skyrocketed in popularity for handling his infamous 3-piece and a soda on Leon Edwards during a backstage altercation in London in March 2019. There's a fine line between entertainment and making it personal, and some people are on different lines, O'Malley said on This Past Weekend with Theo Vaughn. Colby was on the entertainment line. Jorge was on the personal line. I think Colby was on the personal line too, but I don't know. It's not a good look for Jorge. People loved it when he did it to Leon. Boom, 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 pieced him up right there. People loved it. People effing loved that. Maybe Jorge thought, I'm going to do it to Colby. People will love it. No charges were pressed against Masvidal for punching Edwards, but for this attack on Covington, the BMF champion faces 1 count of aggravated battery resulting in great bodily harm and 1 count of criminal mischief. He was released on a $15,000 bond. If convicted, Jorge could actually face jail time, which would really mess up his career. Moving on, what is this incident between Jorge and Edward that keeps popping up? Well, Jorge cold-cocked Edwards backstage at UFC on ESPN Plus 5. Masvidal, who just moments earlier knocked out Darren Till in the main event, was in the middle of an interview with the UFC/ESPN reporter Laura Sanko when Edwards interrupted. Words were exchanged and Masvidal walked out of frame to confront Edwards, who'd earlier in the night bested Gunnar Nelson. "Come over here, say that to my face," Masvidal could be heard saying as he walked away from the interview and toward Edwards. Edwards appeared to be restrained when Masvidal confronted him. Masvidal threw a short combination of punches. The ESPN feed was quickly thrown back to the commentary desk led by Karen Bryant and newly minted UFC Hall of Famer Michael Bisping. Edwards and Masvidal have a history of verbal callouts. The UK standout called out Masvidal following a win over Donald Cerrone this past June. Masvidal subsequently accepted the offer, but a fight never materialized. Edwards subsequently accused Masvidal of ducking the fight. Masvidal, meanwhile, said he had no desire to face unranked opposition. So guys have been seeking each other out for a long time and got a chance to try and settle it man-to-man. Luckily enough for Jorge, Edward didn't file any charges, which is not the same in the case of Colby. Anyway, moving on to other UFC news, Peter Yan shares footage of illegal strike landed by Aljamain Sterling during their first fight at UFC 259. UFC bantamweight star Peter Yan has shared footage of an alleged illegal strike Aljamain Sterling threw during their first meeting. Back at UFC 259 last year, Aljamain Sterling beat Peter Yan via disqualification to capture the UFC bantamweight title. The controversial decision came as a result of Yan throwing an illegal knee, which left Sterling unable to continue. And as per the rules, Funkmaster was awarded the championship, a decision that remains a hot topic to this day. While everyone agrees that Yan was in the wrong, the changing of the hands with regards to the title left a sour taste. Before they ran it back at UFC 273 on Saturday night, Yan took to social media to show what he believes to be an illegal strike thrown by Sterling in the fight. At this point, with just over 48 hours to go before they meet in the middle of the octagon, the time for talk is pretty much over. They've both had their chances to throw as many shots as they possibly can at one another, and the priority now turns to what they'll do to ensure they leave Jacksonville with the title around their waist. In reality, though, this is the most personal matchup of them all, and there's a good chance the score will be settled for good by the time we reach Sunday morning. Next up, Team Sterling responds after Peter Yan threatens a potential hotel brawl ahead of UFC 273. Aljamain Sterling's team doesn't think Peter Yan will actually do anything after his threat at Media Day. Yan and Sterling are set to rematch in the co-main event of UFC 273 after they first met at UFC 259. The lead-up to their first fight was intense, and in the fourth round, Yan threw an illegal knee and was DQ'd, leaving Sterling to become the new champ. Since then, Yan has taken shots at Funkmaster, and at Media Day said if he sees Sterling and his team, he will kill them all prior to the actual event. Although Yan says he would fight Sterling, it seems unlikely anything would happen before Saturday, as the fight would then be pulled and he wouldn't get paid. With that, Al LaQuinta, a teammate of Sterling, doubts anything will happen, but tells the Russian to leave the teams out of it and just worry about Funkmaster. Aljamain Sterling's other teammate, Merab Dvalishvili, also backed up LaQuinta's words, as he thinks Peter Yan made a mistake by saying that. Along with that, Dvalishvili thinks Sterling will not only beat the Russian, but will finish him on Saturday night. There's no question that the rivalry between Sterling and Yan is alive and well ahead of UFC 273. Who will emerge victorious? We will have to wait and find out. Finally, Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns cross paths ahead of their fight at UFC 273 fight. Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns got the chance to size each other up earlier yesterday in Jacksonville, Florida. The welterweight standouts, Chimaev 10-0 in MMA and Burns 20-4 MMA, are set to collide on the main card on Saturday's UFC 273 pay-per-view event. It's a highly anticipated matchup, with the winner likely being awarded with a future welterweight title shot. Khamzat and Chimaev have gone 4-0 inside of the octagon since bursting onto the scene at Fight Island. Bors is coming in off a dominant first-round submission victory over Li Jinglang in his most recent effort at UFC 267. Meanwhile, Gilbert Burns returned to the win column last time out, scoring a unanimous decision victory over fellow former welterweight title challenger Stephen Thompson. That win was, of course, preceded by a TKO loss to reigning 170 pounds kingpin Kamaru Usman. While the pair have exchanged some jabs and low blows on social media, there appeared to be nothing but respect between Khamzat Chimaev and Gilbert Burns when they crossed paths earlier yesterday. While it was all smiles on Wednesday, things will definitely heat up in the days to come as the two contenders prepare to go to battle inside the cage. Khamzat Chimaev has made it clear that he believes he is better than anyone in the welterweight division and will get the chance to prove that when he takes on Durinho this Saturday night. Can't wait for the match myself. Well, unfortunately, that's all we have time for. Make sure to follow us for more similar news from the world of MMA. Till next time.